Regardless of where you stand on the spectrum politically, the sentiment that all of Canada's parties suck is something the majority of Canadians agree with. When you're voting, it's a choice between red and blue Satan, except we live in Canada, so we have orange, green, and Satan bleu clair as well. But be not afraid, because there's one option that is better than all others, and it's not the party you're expecting. I assume the majority of people watching this video are Canadian, so this video must be hyper relevant to you. We will examine the parties that actually matter, sorry Marxist-Leninist Party of Quebec, and explore the issues Canada is facing in the dystopian future that is 2021. You might disagree with what I have to say, and that's okay, but continue watching, because if you do, you will get the much coveted open-minded prize. You know for a fact that the CPC kinda sucks when even conservatives say, I know the PPC is a better party, but Trudeau must go. And I could go on a long rant litigating why it sucks, but Michelle Rempel, a leader in the Conservative Party, can describe it best herself. Yes, I humble myself and ask forgiveness, and seek to make things right. I have privilege. I am cis/straight/white. But I am also a woman who works in a system dominated by white maleness. But no excuses. I will do what I can. That is all I can do, but it is much. And then after Michelle Rempel endorsed liberalism, she personally kicked the social conservative Derek Sloan out of the CPC. The conservatives have totally abandoned their principles. Here's your conservative party, bro. Vote for it to get Trudeau out of office. What are the conservatives conserving? Erin O'Toole has swallowed liberalism in full, a lot like how Germany swallowed Poland in 2 world wars. The only difference between the CPC and the LPC is that the CPC strongly believes in lower taxes. The NDP has an entirely negative view of Canada. They think this country is racist and white supremacist and has only been a plague on the earth. Just because the NDP hasn't had the opportunity to cheat Canada doesn't mean they won't. In fact, the NDP has a greater incentive to screw Canada because they think this is an evil country. Jagmeet Singh has benefited from every privilege this country has to offer. Singh was a high-priced lawyer before getting elected. He wears a $5,000 imported suit while owning a fleet of expensive cars. He's the biggest hypocrite in Canada. If you think Jagmeet has solid principles, you may as well move to Afghanistan right now. The best thing I can say about the NDP is that their principles are more solid than the CPC, but that isn't much of an improvement if your principles include endorsing mass-murdering Cuban dictators. Jagmeet Singh salutes Fidel Castro. If I wanted communism, I'd vote for the Marxist-Leninist Party of Quebec, in a joking way, before the NDP, mainly because they have a cute girl in their logo. I would say something bad about the Bloc Québécois, but their only position is to put Quebec first. It's like criticizing Stalinists for promoting Stalinism. Like, yeah, Stalinism sucks. Factionalism between provinces sucks. What more can I say? Liberal voters vote for the Liberals because the Liberals are, quote, doing a bloody alright job, innit? I don't think Liberal voters are bad people, like how we know people who vote for the Green Party are bad people. And I don't take pity on them either. Every society has a group of people that think what we have right now is good enough and won't engage further until something really bad happens. I know Liberal voters don't look into their party, because if they did, they would find the SNC Lapland scandal, the Aga Khan scandal, and the We Charity scandal, and then promptly refuse to vote for Trudeau. In the We Charity scandal, the government gave ludicrous sums of money to We Charity, and that money ended up in the hands of Trudeau's mother and wife through speaking fees. In the Aga Khan scandal, quote, Trudeau was found guilty of violating sections 5, 11, 12, and 21 of the Federal Conflict of Interest Act by accepting private island vacations, gifts, and flights from the Aga Khan. Why did Trudeau take bribes from Khan? Because Khan petitioned Canada for $50 million for his organization that promotes his religion. Khan got the money. Other politicians can hide their corruption scandals well, but Trudeau can't. I guess he's just fucking lazy. If Trudeau can't even go through the basic effort of hiding his scandals, how do you expect him to run a country? He can't. But on a metaphysical level, what reasons does the Liberal Party give for the continued existence of Canada? Trudeau says Canada is a nation of immigrants. The only reason Canada exists is to serve as a hotel where people can come and go to make money and maybe pick apart the buried treasure. The Conservatives say the same thing. They just believe we need more freedom. Really, we're going to need a better reason for Canada to exist. All the libs and cons have to offer is the managed decline of Canada. They don't offer a positive vision. They just care about material hedonism. They say, well, you know, Canada may not have a culture, we may not believe in something greater than ourselves, we don't do great things anymore, like build aircraft carriers, yes we got one, or build rocket ships, but at least we have a good standard of living, and the quality of life is actually getting worse, and people are becoming unhappy in record levels, but we'll manage it. The LibCon party offers nothing for the soul of Canadians. They just want you to be as much as a hedonistic degenerate as possible, while they loot and plunder Canada for everything it's worth. And this is where the "you have to vote CPC to get Trudeau out" argument that CPC supporters make falls apart. Why am I voting for the Conservatives? So they can achieve their political machinations against another party who has the identical greedy machinations? We're real human beings, not robots who say, this calculation is marginally better than this one.
Hey everyone.
We support real human beings running this country, not bugmen, and especially not Aaron O'Toole. This is the real difference between all the other parties and the one party I haven't mentioned yet, the People's Party. The PPC believes in a higher ideal that is worth fighting and dying for, the Canadian people, the liberty of our ancestors. The morality of the other parties is a cruel joke. They would sell this country to China in an instant if it meant they could make a quick buck. And they've already sold this country to China, so I guess it doesn't matter. So now that I have introduced you to the PPC, what issues is the PPC better on compared to other parties?
And Bob, you're on.
A couple years ago, my high school science teacher said, with these housing prices, my kids will have to live in Nunavut if they want a house. Back in 2017, that was a joking statement. Today, it's legitimate. Real estate is so expensive, we don't even know if Chinese millionaire investors can afford houses. And to be fair, Trudeau is probably more concerned with the needs of his Chinese confidants than with Canadian citizens. We have to be honest about the housing question. The reason the prices are so high is because of demand. And where does the demand come from? Probably the hundreds of thousands of people that come to this country every year. The amount of immigrants we take is totally arbitrary. Japan has taken in very few immigrants and has been described by many, not me, as a paradise. Housing is so cheap in Japan that people are giving away free cars with houses as a bonus. If our population is declining like Japan's, why can't we have that here? The reason why is because Trudeau and his cabal have decided arbitrarily we need to take in 100 million people by 2100. The 100 million Canadians by 2100 plan is real and was formed by the Liberals not too long ago. There's a reason why 90% of Canada's population lives by the US border. Trudeau's plan will create a hyper-populated megacity strip of land acting as a physical wall preventing people up north from traveling south. Wow, did Trudeau watch Game of Thrones and is scared by real-life ice walkers? Probably yes. The only party that proposes restricting immigration is the PPC. They want a moratorium until the pandemic ends. For an issue as important as immigration, no politician even has reducing immigration in their platform. The best Aaron O'Toole can muster is mitigating it by building more homes. We don't want to mitigate the issue, we want to solve it. The PPC is the only major party that can solve it permanently. The solution is a Japanification of Canada. That's right, Maxime Bernier will bring your waifu to laifu, and also make real estate extremely cheap, if you actually care about that. Another big issue that's becoming more pressing is the Boris Yeltsin level effects of shutting down the economy for 1.5 years. Instead of the economy crashing for 9 years, we're looking at a solid 21. Bleeding hearts might say that the unspeakable virus of unknown origin is passing away a lot of people, so that takes precedence over the economy. Well, my heart is even more bleeding, and I'll say that many more people will pass away from a Great Depression than from the C-19, so the economy takes precedence over it. Many people have already been left destitute and totally reliant on government handouts because of the confinements. Direct cash payments from the government is unsustainable. The Liberals just printed a bunch of money and then Canadians were surprised when the food prices went up. It is becoming very expensive to buy meat and other basic goods. It's possible one of the reasons they called this snap election is that Trudeau knows inflation is going to get a lot worse, and this is his final chance to get a majority before Canadians stop getting their free dopamine. To the benefit of all Canadians, the PPC has announced that they want 0% inflation. That's good, but the Liberals printed so much money that if the PPC actually intends to keep that promise, good fucking luck. In my unprofessional opinion, the economy is ruined. But studies have shown that my unprofessional opinion is worth more than an actual economist, so you should trust me more. The most important issue that the PPC is good on is the unknown virus of unspeakable origins. But I literally can't talk about that, or else my whole entire channel will get banned. But if you've been paying attention to their position, you know it, I know it, we all know it. It's impossible to have a leader better than Mad Max. If you want to know more about it, you're going to have to look into it yourself. Oh look, the PPC has an entire website dedicated to their policies. Maybe you should check it out. I mean, I'm not pressuring you or anything. Aside from their policies, there are reasons why people who are planning to vote for Aaron O'Toole should reconsider and instead support the PPC. Leaders mean a lot to the success of any movement. Maxime Bernier is a really compelling leader. That's why the PPC is alive and growing faster than any party in Canadian history, despite losing in 2019. Aaron O'Toole has the energy of a wet sock. That's why even though Trudeau's government sucks, Liberal voters look at the Conservatives and think, man, the CPC sucks even more. Maxime didn't have to leave the CPC and form the PPC. It would have been far easier to stick with the Conservatives even after they cheated him in the 2017 leadership race. There is strong evidence that the dairy cartels manipulated the final vote so Scheer would win. And the dairy cartel, which runs the Conservative Party, did that because Maxime would have dismantled them. I support state-run cartels, by the way. The CPC rejected strong leadership in favor of money. That's when parties really go into decline. And looking at the Conservative Party, how can anyone say it's not in decline? All the energy of the Canadian right is with the PPC. On the issues that really matter, it's impossible to have a leader better than Mad Max. Maxime doesn't have the weak, conciliatory attitude of modern politicians. He doesn't give meaningless platitudes like O'Toole and Trudeau compulsively do. He talks about issues other politicians refuse to touch on. He doesn't blow crack like other politicians. Probably. Other leaders simply can't compare. Maxime knows what he's doing. Compare the creation of the PPC to Derek Sloan's Snake Party.
But getting kicked out of that party was probably the best thing that's happened.
Derek Sloan literally created his party in an outdoor venue like he's a teacher organizing a pizza party.
Over the past 3 weeks, I have received thousands of messages of support from Canadians across the country who want a real choice in October 2019. I have been in contact with hundreds of people wishing to get involved as volunteers or stand as candidates.
Oh, now this is good. Take a look at the Conservative Party convention.
I'm going to go for, let's say, a quick run of 20 Ks or perhaps just a little break.
On a un plan extraordinaire ciblé sur les emplois dans chaque secteur, dans chaque région de notre pays.
What the fuck is this? O'Fool is speaking grade 6 French. Aaron O'Toole can't organize his own convention. How do you expect him to run a country? Even above having a good leader, you have to stick to your principles. Compromising on your beliefs might win in the short term, but it always loses in the long term. Strong belief has a gravitational pull. Men who believe in something but have nothing will win over zombies who believe in nothing but have everything. Where have I seen that before? But Wilhelm Apologist, I thought you were an absolute monarchist and the PPC supports liberal democracy. I hear you say. I don't see any monarchist parties in Canada. Do you? The PPC is the best fit for me. I'm technically homeless. Also, the PPC has a guy named Chad Latanzio running for them. How could you not vote for Chad Latanzio? Trying to make change in Canada feels like trying to demolish a statue of John A. Macdonald with a rubber hammer. Good thing those peaceful protesters had sledgehammers. But we have to remember that voting can only be good because there are only two possibilities. If your vote does something, congratulations. Or if it does nothing, nothing happens. That's why if you support the PPC, you'll have to vote. And if the PPC didn't exist, I'd vote for the Christian Heritage Party. And if the Christian Heritage Party didn't exist, I'd vote for the Marxist-Leninist Party of Quebec, in a joking way. But if the PPC candidate in your riding is libertarian, don't vote for them. We have to make disappear the Lolperts because they ruin everything they touch. If you're stressed about the future of this country, don't worry. Real change can't happen yet because things haven't gotten bad enough. The PPC base is coming from people who are paying attention and are getting worried about the future of this country. The worse the standard of living gets, the more people will start to pay attention and choose the PPC. And hopefully soon, there will be a monarchist base which supports based monarchy. On a final note, I only post one video a month, so if you want to be updated with the affairs of our sacred democracy, watch Tyler L. Russell. The links for his stuff are in the description. He's a real Canadian patriot. This video is not an endorsement of the People's Party. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And also share it too.